Was good. You know, L.A.R. movement. I think it's still moving. I think possibly, probably, perhaps. Um, I was watching. What is that on Netflix? Rotten, right? So Rotten is a show where they show what's going on in other parts of the world and in America when it comes to certain industries. So the first one was on wine. The second one was on water. And what I was seeing was basically people and people who are running corporations, who are in corporations, who are in certain industries, they're doing everything for profits, right? To the point where, we all gonna be on borrowed time because of it. Now we're all on borrowed time because we all have, a life or whatever. So it begins and it ends. But what I'm seeing, what I was watching, is older people who, for some odd reason, to cash out in life, they think they're gonna be old forever because, and they're selfish and self-centered. What I mean by that is, you got people who are basically, they're willing to throw their grandchildren under the bus so they could ball. And I started thinking about it like, we talk about culture and cultural things, and I'm like, wait, so with all these industries and these corporations doing all this stuff to make sure that your kids don't have a future, who's profiting? And I'm like, see, we like to say big business. Well, big business has people in it. Big business, somebody goes home with money and somebody goes home without. So if you look at it and you look at society or whatever, let me cut this down a little bit. If you look at society, what you're starting to see is people worry about the haves and the have-nots, but people are not really worried about the haves and the have-nots because as long as you can look like you living, you living, you know, and that's the first thing. We're all living on borrowed time because of credit, and there's one thing about credit that at some point the bills due, and I'm looking at society, and I'm like, okay, if people are living in off of debt, in a sense, college education is credit, in a sense. Credit card definitely credit, in a sense. Mortgage definitely credit, in a sense. Um, Car loan credit. So what is credit? Credit is somebody else footing the bill, and you paying them interest because they had to pay for it cash. So I'm looking at it like, okay, we all on borrowed time because the minority of society can afford to buy things cash. The majority of society is buying things on credit. So I'm like, okay, we got a problem. And unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna get no better because looking at it from country to country, state to state, city to city, this is what they're building societies on. The idea of credit, debt. So I was looking at something a couple of days ago where, your debt, when you die, your debt does too. And I'm thinking to myself, Well, if that's the case, debt's not real either, right? Because if you owe somebody a debt and you die, that's it. All you gotta do, they dead. They can't pay you. They dead. And yeah, okay, forget it. So you mean to tell me if somebody owes somebody 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 because they dead, that's it? So you lending them the money in the first place becomes a problem. Disky was heavy. But the worst part about this credit scenario is it puts us all on borrowed time. And I think about credit as far as like refinance. The idea that you get a house, you get a car, and you refinance. Well, if you refinance, then they're gonna start your payments from scratch. That wasn't always the case. If you got a 5-year loan and you refinance that 5-year loan in a year, what's up, loan cash? Then guess what happens? From that year forward, you just got a different interest rate. You pay a lower rate. But now, if you refinance, it's if you did something for 5 years, now it's a new 5 years. Say you refinance 2 years in, so now you refinance in 5 years, 5 more years. So that's 7 years of making payments. You do it with a house. They have it in some ways when you refinance a house. If it's 10-year mortgage, 15-year mortgage, 20-year mortgage, 30-year mortgage, whatever it is, whatever you start to refinance, they have it so that's going to restart your mortgage 30 years if it's a 30-year. So restart it 20 years if it's 20. You got to realize you got to make sure you don't do the ones like that, which I think are becoming less and less in society. Why is that a problem? Well, because what's going to wind up happening is being a homeowner is going to become a thing of the past. Because you're going to basically be a home renter until you can't pay a mortgage, right? You might not ever be a homeowner. The same way they was doing black folks back in the day with these bad contracts like in Chicago and whatnot with their fake practices. That was like 50s, 60s. You know what I'm saying? They basically retooled that for the current day. It's not just the housing bubble. It's not just the adjustable rates. It's the fixed ones too. So the American dream of owning land, you better be careful with that because you might be on borrowed time. That's why, the taxes going up. Taxes depends on where you at. So you got to be cognizant about what you're buying, how much it's going to cost, and not how much it's going to cost a month. How much can you afford for it to cost a month while you're paying down on it and saving money, just in case there's a rainy day of emergency. So it's a problem. So we all on borrowed time because of credit. Now the second thing, we all on borrowed time because of health. See, they talked about the millennial generation having a lifespan of 100 years, and I said recently I'm not buying it. I'm gonna tell you why. I go out, I work, I go out and work, I go to work every day. I'm out in the public every day, and if I count 10 or 100 people every day, the the vast majority of those people are overweight and obese. So if I for every 10 people, I say 7 of them are overweight to obese. So what is that with 100? 70. What is that with 1,000? 700. 10,000, 7,000. You get what I'm saying? To to a million to be what? 700,000. You make that to 10 million, that's 7 million. You know what I'm saying? The country is 330 million people, and I'm saying 70% of them are overweight and obese. How are we going to live to a lifespan? How are millennials going to live to a lifespan of 100 when they're taught to be overweight and obese at an early age? Very early age. See, people want to say, what's going to kill your life expectancy? Yeah, Rollo, they do. People don't think about all the things killing your life expectancy. And I'm sitting here like, okay, we gonna have a problem. You know, I'm seeing kids go from nice little, cute little 2, 3, 4 year old, 5 year olds to being 6 and starting to be overweight. Yeah, exactly. Food is a trip. So I'm looking like, okay, we all on borrowed time because we're gonna run out of people who can actually live, who can actually take care of themselves because of their lifestyle long enough. What's up, D Weez? To teach how to maintain yourself and maintain your life. And yeah, definitely the parents too. So now it's like, okay, we don't talk about things. Now it's to the point where, oh man, I'm gonna talk about that alcohol in a minute. It's to the point where I'm seeing people are overweight, people are obese, and this little, changing my diet for a month opened my eyes because it ain't even just portion size anymore. A normal adult portion is not really given in America anymore. So if somebody gives you an adult portion of food, you're gonna think, what is this? What is this little amount of food? Because people are so accustomed to eating big, it takes your body some time to wean yourself off of that. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna have a problem. Everybody gonna be on borrowed time. This addiction to alcohol, this addiction to smoke, this addiction to drugs. You know, I'm like, oh, you know, I used to laugh when I go into the grocery store and I see guys coming in while people are buying groceries, they buying beer. I'm like, that's it, bro. You're not even gonna eat. You had a long day at work, so you just gonna buy a 24 pack. That's what we do. Okay. So now we're gonna have an issue. We all on borrowed time because of this. Now, another thing about this is we're all on borrowed time because I started thinking about all the vast majority of society doesn't bet on themselves. And what I mean by that is we're putting things in everybody else's hands to be responsible for. So you putting your diet in restaurants. Restaurants are responsible for your diet. You know. Oh man, X, what's up, man? Y'all killing them debates. you know. So you putting restaurants is to be responsible for your diet. So now we're picking where we're going to eat. Oh, this is more healthy or more high class, and this is more low class. Listen, they're not responsible for what you eat. What's up, Evron? Yeah, I bet that, Rollo. I can see that. Not only that, You're putting your financial decisions in other people's hands. You know, even when you got it set up. Let me say this. You can you can put everything on your bank app to be paid through your bank. So your bank has a working relationship with everybody who has a service that you got to buy. Here's the problem with that. If you don't see the money go in and you don't see the money go out, you're not watching. You can't budget. How you gonna budget? Because most people say they look at their account every day, but you don't. You don't know when one month you spent too much, one month you didn't, until one day you look up and you say, "Oh, I'm not." I'm saying it as a. I'm not saying that's the norm. Well, I am saying that's the norm. Take that back. That's the norm. But on top of that, this is what we're teaching the next generation to do. Man, that's crazy, Ryan. I'm sitting here drinking water right now. I ate an orange and a banana and some water. And actually a bag of chips just now because I was hungry. But this is crazy. So now you put your financial decisions in the algorithm's hands. If you want to invest, that goes, to your 401k. You just trust whatever they do. On top of that, if you want to invest, you're going to do acorns, right? Nothing wrong with all of these things, but you're not learning how to do it yourself. You're not even being hands-on with taking your destiny into your own hands with your own finances. So guess what? And we're not teaching that financial literacy to our children because ultimately we're growing to be a financially illiterate society. So guess what? We on borrowed time because for the lenders, you know, they're gonna love the spenders, love them, you know, exactly. And I'm saying, and it's crazy, but a lot of us can't even afford, that $10,000 per se. So the other thing, we all on borrowed time. I don't know how to say this nicely. We all on borrowed time because the vast majority of society is living in fantasy land. When you're young, you think you ain't gonna never get old. I'm looking at it and I'm realizing people older than me, my parents, my grandparents, age. King, what's happening? What's up, Unc? Who are starting to realize in their golden years, in their 50s, man, I'm going I'm gonna die. I ain't really done the things I want to do in my life. Wait, what? So, and this is where the kicker comes in. We got generations of adults who either are taking care of their parents, because even though their parents might not have taken care of them, to the actual detriment of their own children and their future. And then you got adults who don't even bother with their parents. And guess what happens? If their parents even have any kind of money or savings. What's up, Uncle Nick? Green Machine, what's poppin'? If their parents even have something to pass down, it's gonna get squandered and withered away and taken in like the old folks' home. Those retirement homes. So when you wind up inheriting nothing, guess what? So even in a family sense, if you ain't set your life up right, either you won't inherit anything from your parents, you won't have anything from taking care of your parents, and guess what and you won't have anything to start your kids off with. Hilarious. You know? What's up, Carl? Now, one of the reasons I was talking about that, I was sitting there talking to my woman about this about 2 days ago. And we were talking about retirement. And I just paused, and it's like a light bulb went off in my head. And I was like, say, how many rich people you know who actually retired? And then she's like, rich people don't retire. I'm like, that's the point. See, Warren Buffett ain't never retired. Steve Jobs ain't never retired. He died. You know, when y'all see these athletes and entertainers, you think they retired because they retired from playing sports and entertaining you. No, they have their own little side businesses, commercial real estate, real estate. Exactly. Uncle Nick, no feudal, they do not retire. Why? Because they have a skill that can make them money every day and they enjoy the grind of it. So we on borrowed time because the mentality of the normal adult is I'm gonna work until I'm 55, 60, I'm gonna work and then I'm gonna get this much money and I'm gonna retire. Stop lying. I mean, you might not be lying. I take that back. What's up, Prometheus? You might not be lying. But if you want to achieve the things you want in life, you're gonna have to work. Don't think well, some people think this person is retired. No, what they did was they invested. And their investments pay them monthly or weekly. You know what I'm saying? So their money works if they don't work literally anymore. I started thinking of all the old people who retired. And you know, if you did it right, you got a check every month. But all of the old people that I know of, they didn't know how to use their money to play the stock market. They didn't take that money to uh say buy other properties. You get what I'm saying? Rental properties. They didn't do all of that. They just got a check every month. When they had the cash, they didn't do it. And then I started thinking about the financial part of that. You know, most people, Roth, 401k, 529, that's for the kids' graduation, all that other stuff, right? TSP. I'm like, wait. For the majority, you put that money in, you know, as a tax shelter for most of them. I think the Roth not is not. But then what happens is when you take that money out, it's taxed. So you got to remember, you're taxed at a certain tax rate when this stuff happens later on. I'm dropping stuff. So even if you retire, you know, Uncle Sam's still getting a piece of your money because, that's how it works. So now we're going to play this game. And the game is how long you think you're going to, how long the money that you retired with, what's up, Shakur? How long you think you're going to live? How long? You think you're going to, I'm retiring at 55. I got a nice little nest egg. What if you live till 90? You know what I'm saying? In 35 years, it's going to be a mother. A mother. You have to learn some type of skill that makes money in the interim, right? And some people go, and here's the crazy part. Some older people go back to work, not because of money, but because of boredom. Sometimes it's because of money too. But we all on borrowed time because, like I said, this started for me watching Netflix show or documentary, whatever it's called Rotten. Dude said he owns a vineyard, so wine in France. He said, look, my family had this property for 5 generations, and now they're on the verge of basically getting put out of business. And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, you had 5 generations, 4 generations of profit. That's what that is. 4 generations of profit. Because the first generation probably had to work to pay off the land. So the land was paid off, and they started profiting in that first generation, somewhere in the middle or end, possibly. But the other 4 is all profit. Yeah, Albert, they do. What's up, Wayne? So there are people out here who basically have inheritances about to get put out of business financially. No, it's actually a vineyard in France. I was just watching Netflix. Yeah, I was thinking about that too, Ryan. Because what people are passing down is education, not skill, not property. You know, I started looking at things like, okay, we all on borrowed time because we're not taking into consideration how serious cryptocurrency is going to be. You're not buying anything cash no more for the most part. You buying it, digitally. So if you're not preparing yourself or even investing in the digital world, what's up? This is part of the reason why I was talking about that special, because part of the thing they were talking about was water. And I remember they had that movie called The Big Short, when the guys were talking about they were going to make a fortune shorting the mark, shorting. I can't say short right now. Shorting the market during the housing bubble because they knew it was going to burst. They made a fortune. One of the guys, I think one or two of them, at the end of it was like, "Listen, so what's y'all next big investment? What do you look like is going to be next?" It's like water. I was like, water, and for years I was like, water. You know, yeah, water. Water is so much in abundance. But I'm watching that show and I'm thinking, wait, this is what they was talking about. See, all this bottled water that we getting, the vast majority of it is tap water. But the vast majority of the spring water comes from natural springs, cities, groundwater springs. They have natural flowing springs. Shakur, thanks, fam. And that's kind of, invest aggressively. Absolutely. 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 I'm just saying, sometimes, we can invest aggressively, but also invest in learning how to invest on your own. What's up, Al? But getting back to the water, right? Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly. This is gonna be interesting. You know, now we gotta think about water, because what's going on with the water is basically a company will go to a country town, right? And they got a spring. So they pump the water out in that spring, right? And they got to deal with the city to pump the water out of the spring. This is the water that the city itself uses. Water, for its country's filtration, all that other stuff. But this company is basically paying the same amount you would pay for your water bill, and then putting it in a bottle and selling it to you. So, like in Texas, say if you use under 5,000 gallons of water in a month, you pay like $50, right? So if you go over 5,000 gallons of water, you're gonna pay higher charge. But imagine a water company paying the same amount that you would pay, and they drain this city dry of water, and then move to the next city, and do it in the next city, and do it in the next city, and do it in the next city. At a certain point, what's gonna wind up happening? You're gonna start running out of water. So guess who the only people that's gonna have a close relationship with water? The people close to the ocean. Yeah, they gonna pump that sucker dry. What's up, Tiff? Yeah, I mean, it's tap water. I mean, the spring water is groundwater, but the other water that you just get bottled, purified, all that's tap water. All that's tap water. So I'm saying that to say this: at some point, when you run out of water, guess what's gonna be the highest thing? The highest thing that you got to pay for? Water. Now, the one thing that cracked me up about this was they were talking about Flint and how Flint water is contaminated. But like maybe an hour drive away, 30-minute drive away from Flint is where one of your biggest companies pump water from. So the people of Flint could have got water from their the people in their own state, maybe an hour drive away. But that's crazy. But they're getting charged for it. And you got to think about that. If I told you 5,000 gallons of water for a person is $50 a month, what if, how much are they selling to you 5,000 gallons of water? Think about that. If you bought 50 gallons, 50 gallons of water would be what? $50. If they sold you 5,000, they just sold you $5,000 of water and paid $50 for it. Now you keep running them numbers up. So at a certain point, guess what's gonna happen? That's gonna be a shortage too. So we all on borrowed time. Not to mention, people are not thinking about things. Yeah, I remember that. They sued that guy because actually they voted, the people voted against that. They voted to keep it with Detroit. He decided to get a kickback. So now I'm looking at it like, okay, what are we doing in society now? What are we doing with our time? What are we doing with our money? And people keep talking about a side hustle, different revenue streams. I'm gonna tell you why that is. Because you on borrowed time. Because a job might not pay the bills if it's in the wrong industry. You know, a job might not pay your bills if it's in the wrong industry. And I'm gonna say something that some people really not gonna like. We all on borrowed time when it comes to how can I say, coupling up. Tell y'all, in some ways, I said it's cheaper to be single for men who got their stuff together. But I'm gonna guarantee you this: in the coming decade, it ain't gonna be cheap to be by yourself. you're gonna be getting with people just on the strength that both of y'all can actually bring more money to the table than one of y'all. Cause somebody gonna be struggling trying to do it on their own. Ain't the price of nothing is going down. I got friends who live in what you would consider smaller places in Texas, and they're seeing the prices of how can I say this, real estate rise there. So you think you're gonna go to a country town and you just gonna come up, or you know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna do is, I could live for like $500-600 a month on rent. Go to this country town? Nope, not finna happen. The city gonna be super overpriced, and the country gonna be what the city was when you said it was all good. So whether you like it or not, it's gonna be people who are roommates, couples. It's gonna be a lot of golden girls and a lot of golden boys because you know freedom in a sense is on borrowed time. Because we're gonna have freedom as far as we're Americans, but a lot of people ain't gonna have. The vast majority of this country is not gonna have financial freedom. So I'm just saying it's gonna get real, really real. My bad, Rollo, but I just got. I'm just being honest about it. It's gonna get really real. So all of these talking points, that's cool. I understand it. I'm with it, but I know it's not gonna last another decade. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's the thing. But don't be even there. Question it like even when people are going abroad, the question is not going to be can they afford it. The question is going to be can they buy something because, and I hate to say it this way, if you white you can buy stuff in other countries. If you black, they're gonna give you all the time. Now you got your money, they can't hold you for long. But if you don't got your money, you gonna have a problem. What's up, Wayman? Yeah, you know, who China? Hey, it's pending. I feel you. You know what I mean, Rollo. Like if you got your money, you good. But because a lot of people don't even know how to become citizens of other countries, you know. And can you afford that part? Can you afford the citizenship there? As far as the weight, that's what For me, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Getting the storage container ready. Ooh, well China can do what they want to do. Now the other thing I gotta, yeah, yeah, that's what I was trying to get to, Rollo. That's what I'm trying to get to. I get you. You know, so this is, people are on borrowed time, and it's gonna be the kicker. People are gonna be on borrowed time. We all are on borrowed time because human beings, even in America, are not learning at the pace that technology is moving at. So technology in the last 30 years has grown exponentially. We haven't. And in some ways, the vast majority of us have regressed. What's up, David? Good evening. So even with smartphones, I remember talking about this a long time. You know, we got smartphones and dumb people. The phones getting smarter and we getting dumb. That's gonna be a problem. Now, I'm gonna tell you why that's gonna be a problem, and this is what I mean. You got all these kids at home, working from home, using a computer, and they still getting bad grades. With a smartphone. They can't even they can't they can't Siri or Alexa answer. You in the house by yourself. What's up, Tony? And the parents, us as parents, we just as stupid. So how we gonna keep up? Look, even the smartest people who create the algorithms, they've created. What's up, Jr? They've created algorithms in a way that the algorithms work on their own, and the algorithms adjust, and the algorithms perfect themselves and realign themselves. So they're working on their own. Artificial intelligence. So even the people making the algorithms, the computers are making better algorithms than them. Yeah, algorithms might be dumb, Prometheus, but we getting dumber. That's the problem. We're becoming dumber than algorithms. My thing is like, dang, if that's the point, you might as well just cut the computer off. Unplug that stuff. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. And I'm seeing kids, I'm listening to the kids looking at children who are very accustomed to interacting on the internet with other people, but not in person. And adults accustomed to interacting with people on the internet, but not in person. Just going so now people who made fun of catfishing, our working society is gonna be a big ass catfish. That's where we at. American society and the global society is gonna be a big ass catfish. People are being promoted, but you know, not it takes me back to watching Rich Dad Poor, reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, when he was saying the rich dad, he saw him work on a bunch of different jobs, and the older he got, the less he worked and the more money he made because he was working to get all these businesses up and going. His poor dad kept getting promotions and kept upping his lifestyle off of the promotions and basically was working poor. Why is that important? Is because what I realized looking out into society, that's what the vast majority of us do. We make a little bit more money, then we up our lifestyle. And we're working class, working poor, middle class, working poor, upper class, working poor. Thinking that all of these debts and credits and owing somebody and owing this person and that person is a good thing. It ain't. So I'm just saying, like, we all on borrowed time because at the end of the day, if you got kids, if you got grandkids, you might as well at least buy off and pay for some property. Because I'm gonna tell you, with remember, and Erica Williams was talking about this. 25% of women going to live back home. You're gonna get an increasing amount of people who can't afford to be out in the world and be at home. And we say family is important, but because a lot of us aren't training our children to be adults, and we're not training our children to be financially literate, and we're not financially literate to the point that, you know, they're in the hole the minute they become an adult, we're gonna have an issue. I forgot that doggone movie. She is a real smart cookie, huh? She definitely is. We're gonna find ourselves. I forgot that movie with Justin Timberlake. I think it's Out of Time, when they turned like 25 and then the clock started running. And if you ran out of time, you died. Because ultimately, people are gonna not just die from obesity, they're gonna die from the lack of knowledge and the stress of being behind the eight ball financially. And all you hearing is young people, obsessing over fashion and drugs. And I'm like, okay, it's gonna be bad. Bad. I hate to sound gloom and doom, but it's gonna be bad. So, thinking about what I've been thinking about, I just had to put this video out there just as far as a reference, because I'm realizing, man, a lot of us not going. There are a lot of adults who are not making it now. So if you're as an adult and you're not making it now, because I know people who are younger than me and older than me who haven't even got on the path of getting it together. So if you're 35, you 45, and you just started to get it together, you ain't gonna make it. The vast majority of them are. The vast majority are not. Because we're only gonna get older, but people are not taking care of themselves. This is not gonna be good. But like I said, I'm done. I'm done. Y'all have yourselves a good one, man. Like, share, subscribe. Catch y'all the next time. Peace.